attentive viewers have noticed over the past couple of videos that my Weviti Four Shaft Loom has been partially warped. And it is going to stay that way. However, we shall in this video start weaving. My original plan was actually to warp the entire length of the loom, but then I asked my friend what her boyfriend, which is another very good friend of mine, would like for Christmas, and she said, well, a scarf would be useful because he's always stealing mine. And I thought, well, I might have just already warped a perfect scarf width on my loom. So friend, I hope you don't mind being a guinea pig, because your gift is going to be me testing out my new loom. Now, just so that we're clear, that we're on the same page, this is in no shape or form a tutorial. Not even if you look at it at a 5-kilometer distance in a dark alleyway. On the contrary, I think more seasoned weavers will gouge their eyes out just from seeing what I'm doing. If that is the case, please don't. I would rather have you give me tips in the comments. And now this warp is very much positioned to one side. I'm going to first try and get a little bit more centered on the loom. So first we will have to slide all these handles to the right. To the right now, y'all. While I do this, I'll tell you that the reason why my loom has stayed eternally only partially warped is that I stopped warping it because in summer this space, this studio space, gets ridiculously hot, and I mostly warp by running from, well, walking. I'm not going to exaggerate. I walk from my loom to the point where it's kind of a peg, but it's actually my cabinet, and then walk back. And just doing that in summer over here, perspiration was real. So I have been sampling some designs, some stitches on here, and this is a confirmation of my desire for a 4-shaft loom. Like, I just have my warp thread 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and look at all this pretty stuff I can make. Yeah, this is, oh my god, this is so unbelievably cool. Now there are some mistakes apparently in my 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 pattern. You can see one over here, and I have some tension issues over here. But you know, this is my first try out on this loom, and oh my god, look at, I am so in love with like the monochrome twill over here. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I hope my friend thinks the same. Now you may notice I am doing all this shifting of my shafts by hand. I do not have any paddles or levers on this loom. This is very, very basic, but it's working. I don't know if there is any Weviti loom experts in the audience that can tell me whether or not this is what this loom is supposed to look like, or if I am missing pieces. Now that I have been weaving at this project for my friend for 2 consecutive days now, I am once again amazed by the excitement and the relaxation that I get from the weaving process. And I'm also a little bit embarrassed that I haven't touched a loom since Mother's Day. How? Why? It takes hours, if not days, especially warp a loom this size. And knitting, you can just pick up and start. There is no extra preparation needed. But now that I am working on this, I've got so many ideas, like the tutu twill. Weavers, what is this magic? It looks so beautiful. Now I want to make a big piece of cloth in tutu twill and sew a skirt out of it. So many project ideas just from practicing with this stupid little scarf. And I have also decided that I want to make a second scarf. I also want to make a gift for my godfather. Now, I know that the Christmas season is technically almost a month ago, now that you are seeing this, but I still want to ask, did you make a lot of handmade gifts? Because I used to make handmade gifts. I made like handspun socks and everything. But I've come to realize that not everyone in my life is craft worthy. But both my friend and my godfather are very craft worthy people. So I think the warp surely is long enough to make 2 scarves. We're going to do just that. So the moment when I realized that not everyone in my life is craft worthy was exactly when I made those handspun hand knit socks. Ooh, and this I'm still so salty about it, even though the recipient actually doesn't know, because they forgot the pair of socks that they made at the venue. They didn't take it home with them. Luckily, my mom was quick to claim it as her own. She's a very craft-worthy person too. And I don't think the recipient of said pair of socks knows that they forgot it at the venue. They are not missing a pair of handspun hand-knit socks. That's how you put a knife through a crafter's heart. So yeah, I am not easily making handmade gifts anymore, only for people that are worth it. Do you have such craft or horror stories too? Let me know in the comments so that we can commiserate together. Even the not so very seasoned weavers might have noticed that I'm using this comb and not a reed to push my threads against my work. I dislike this reed. It is not stuck to anything. It's completely loose. And yeah, I don't know. I like using this. It's probably a lot slower, but I still have quite a bit of time to finish my gifts. I don't know about weaving dogmas, but you know, dogmas are invented by people and we can just ignore them. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and the scarf isn't finished yet. Let's crunch a couple of hours right now and get this scarf done, and then we can get started on the scarf for my godfather. I am very happy that I'm seeing both only for New Year's celebrations or I would be shamefully late. Here we go, that's a proper scarf size item. Yeah! Of course, I still need to wet set the scarf, finish the fringe and weave in all the ends. But first, make a new warp. If only that worked in real life, right? I realized that the leftovers of my previous warp wasn't going to cut it for a second scarf, so I made a new one. But it's rather skinny. It's going to be a long and skinny scarf. But it's the first time, it's actually the very first time that I'm using my handspun as a warp. So this is exciting. But I also had the sobering realization that I can't even count to 4. I can't even count to 4. I can't even count to 4. Yeah, I made some counting mistakes in the warp again. Well, my friends and family just don't have to expect mechanical perfection from me. And you guessed it, I'm going to go just batshit crazy on 2/2 twill. This, by the way, is the yarn that we spun for my 1-year channel anniversary video. So the combed spotted Dutch sheep. If you haven't seen that video, I shall link it in the description and maybe also put a card in the top right corner. I did eventually get friendly with the loom's reed. Huzzah! It was of course mostly out of necessity because at this point that you're watching now, I have approximately 24 hours left to finish this scarf. It's long and skinny indeed. Wee, 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 wee. Now, this scarf also still needs to have the same treatment that you saw me give the previous one. But I'm going to do that off camera because today is December 31st and I'm seeing my godfather tomorrow. So I better get this quickly done, quickly washed so that this is dry before tomorrow. Yeah, how to wrap up this video. I think both scarves really represent the character of the receivers very much. My friend is our Pathfinder game master, so it has a little bit of that random quirky magic stuff, and then my godfather is effortlessly classy all the time, and I think this matches that. Also, I made him a hat last year in the same Dutch spotted sheep wool, so this will match that hat very nicely. I had a lot of fun weaving on my Weviti Four Shaft Loom. However, as I have said before, Weviti experts, am I missing parts on my loom because it's really tiresome on the shoulders to reach out for the shafts all the time? Yeah, I am full of ideas to make more projects on my loom. If you're interested in that, and if you generally like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe. But of course, that is all up to you. If you want to see more crafting shenanigans, I have a playlist for you, and I will see you in a next video. Bye!